And quickly moving on to the big story we're tracking this evening. In yet another shocker of a statement, Tamil Nadu Speaker has linked the state's development to Christianity. What makes it all the more condemnable is that he said if there were no priests in the state, Tamil Nadu would be like Bihar. That's what he said. We have, remember viewers, in the past heard some of the DMK leaders come out with anti-Hindu, anti-Brahmin remarks. But here's a person holding a constitutional post, though has served as an MLA in the DMK, M Appavu, now holding the post of the speaker, has taken this to a whole new level. Yes, questions being asked of the BJP, but this is what he'd said first up.
கிறிஸ்தவ பள்ளி கல்லூரி அவர்களுடைய ஆற்றிய பணிகள் அதற்காக எதையும் எதிர்பார்க்காமல் உழைத்தவர்கள்தான் அருட் தந்தையர்கள், அருட் சகோதரிகள், அருட் சகோதரர்கள். அவர்கள் இல்லை என்றால் நாம் திரும்பி பார்ப்போம், பீகார் போல் தமிழ்நாடு இருக்கும். இன்று இந்தியாவிலேயே தமிழ்நாடு, கேரளா உயர்ந்த இடத்தில் இருக்கிறது என்றால் அதை உருவாக்கிய பெருமை கிறிஸ்தவர்களுக்கு உண்டு. குறிப்பாக கத்தோலிக்க கிறிஸ்தவ அருட் தந்தையர்களுக்கு உண்டு என்பதுதான் நிதர்சனமான உண்மை.
Meanwhile, the BJP has hit out at the remarks made by the Tamil Nadu Assembly Speaker. Remember, he made this remark at a college event. Now, the BJP has said this once again exposes DMK's anti-Hindu mindset. Listen in.
Not only that, it is very unfortunate that the Speaker of the Assembly, Tamil Nadu Assembly, has spoken like this. It is communal, and now DMK has proved that it is communal and it is anti-Hindu. Because Mr. Appavu says, again, he has tried to demean and disrespect the North Indians also by saying that if Christians, particularly the Catholic and priests, were not there, Tamil Nadu would have turned as Bihar. We strongly condemn this. We demand that Mr. Appavu, the MLA from the Tirunelveli district, he has to apologize to the people of Tamil Nadu.
Let me go across to my colleague Prapanch joining us this evening as he gets us more details on the same. Now, the BJP certainly demanding an apology from the Tamil Nadu Assembly Speaker. Prapanch, now how do we view the Speaker's comments? A, he's gone on to, of course, single out Christianity from what it appears at this point in time. But what is shocking is that he says that if there were no priests in the state, then Tamil Nadu would perhaps become like Bihar. That's the shocking remark coming in.
That's right. This was during an event at St. Paul's Seminary's centenary celebration that happened in the last days of June. In fact, 29th of June it had happened, wherein Appavu was one of the guests who was invited for that particular function. There he was talking about, in fact, taking a jibe at the governor's remarks earlier about the Sanatana Dharma. He was telling about how what Sanatana Dharma was, and he was also, without naming anybody, he was talking about the Sanatana Dharma and how people, with regard to Manu Dharma, had come from various spots. And talking about that, he was also saying that how a certain community were in fact spreading education without any caste bias is what he was talking about. And also he also spoke about how Tamil Nadu and Kerala were in top positions because a certain group of institutions were in fact there. So these are the comments that were made by the Speaker of the Assembly. He is the Assembly Speaker. He is Mr. Appavu, Radhapuram MLA. Now that has not gone well with, in fact, a certain group of people, including BJP, has come out opposing these comments, and we could see that they are demanding an apology.
All right, thank you for joining us with all those details. Prapanch, we need to quickly open this up to our guests who are with us on this broadcast. Quickly introducing our guests who are with us. I'd like to welcome Mohan, Krishna, who's spokesperson of the BJP, also Mr. R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist. We have Gokul Chandran, political analyst, with us. Also with us is Vikraman R, a spokesperson of the VCK. Now, if I could quickly bring in all of you into the conversation, and I just want our viewers to quickly understand what has been said by the Tamil Nadu speaker. And for the first response, I'd like to go across to Mohan Krishna, because the BJP, the vice president of the state, sir, has now questioned the Tamil Nadu Assembly speaker for the kind of remarks made, saying this once again puts on display the DMK's anti-Hindu mindset.
Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. He should be apologized, because the kind of words he has used is very communal. Stating that, if not the Catholic Christians, the Tamil Nadu would have been different. Tamil Nadu would have become a Bihar. This kind of, see, it is appeasement actually. Absolute appeasement. See, DMK, I will just take 1 minute of my time. DMK, right from the beginning, when they have taken the power this time, they are in one or other way, they are into controversies. The controversies and confrontation with the central government is the only agenda of them. Okay. The other biggest agenda of this DMK government there is to see that demean Hindus there, and anti-Hindu propaganda, whatever they can do maximum, they are trying to do that. And you can see the atrocities of polices in Tamil Nadu today. You can see the deaths of students, mysterious deaths of students, and the kind of, ये कैसा चला रहे राज को, ये कैसा चला रहे, ये थोड़ा कोई पूछने वाला है या नहीं उसको?
So you're saying this is BJP's anti-Hindu mindset that is at display here. Let me quickly take in a Congress view. We have Mr. America Narayan, who's joining us on the phone line. Mr. Narayanan, what would you make of what has been said by the Tamil Nadu Assembly Speaker? Couple of points that I'd quickly like to put out, to which you can respond. He says Catholic Christians responsible for development of Tamil Nadu. So he's clearly singling out Christians in the state. Then says 57% graduate because of Catholic Christian schools and colleges. If there were no priests, then Tamil Nadu would be like Bihar. Your response, sir?
First thing is, I think BJP is communalizing this because the significant amount of Brahmins, for example, participated in the independence movement. If somebody says that, which is a fact, would you call them communal? Now, will BJP call them communal? The bottom line is that I have studied in Christian institution, and during the, I think, 60s and 70s, until the late 80s, a significant amount of good quality educational institutions have been the Christian institutions. So it is factual, it has nothing to do with it. But to say that it wouldn't be there, if they are not there, we would have still done it. They had done it. Their Christian missionaries and Christian schools have done extremely a good job in terms of bringing in education. But after 80s, a significant amount of all the religious institutions, be it Jain, be it Hindus, came in, and they are, as a matter of fact, some of them are much better than the traditional institutions that have started much earlier. So I think it's a fact. The fact can be said, and I think now Appavu is not DMK, he's a speaker. So to say that DMK has said that, again, BJP is trying to politicize an issue. This is a fact, nobody can deny that. 3 is BJP is looking for a chance to push ADMK out.
All right, so he's currently, all right, he holds a constitutional post, he's the Tamil Nadu speaker, but the fact also is that he's contested in the Radhapuram State Assembly constituency, also won 4 times from there. That's where the BJP is perhaps drawing the DMK link. I'll thank you for joining us on this broadcast. Let me go across to Mr. Rajagopalan. Mr. Rajagopalan, in your view, who then is communalizing the issue? We just heard Mr. Narayanan Tirupati there saying that the DMK is perhaps communalizing it. It is the Tamil Nadu Assembly Speaker who's perhaps gone ahead with irresponsible remarks. We just heard the Congress view there saying it's the BJP that's communalizing the issue.
Speaker of Tamil Nadu Assembly, Mr. Appavu, is a constitutional functionary. He should not be provocative and he should not be talking for or against one community, because he is presiding over 234 MLAs. Apart from that, now you realize, madam, why BJP is growing in Tamil Nadu. Why BJP is unnecessarily, they say that the Hindutva agenda. Yes, obviously, if you provocate Hindus, definitely they will go for the Hindutva way. Second point, what I would like to make is, DMK ministers of late are condemning the North Indians, like Pani Puri बेचने वाले सारा हिंदी बोलने वाले लोग North Indians से करके. Now Mr. Appavu has spoken about the North Indians Bihari. Third thing is, important is, the election manifesto of DMK covered that NEET exam will be, abolished, and we will be the first signature of government of DMK would ensure that NEET will be abolished. But nothing happened for last 1.5 years. To cover up that, to divert that issue, all ministers and functionaries of DMK are unnecessarily provocative, talking irrelevant things, and recently the bus fares have been increased, milk price has been increased, property tax has been increased.
We've seen this constant war of words between the DMK and the AIDMK, but the larger point here remains, and I'd like Mr. Gokul Chandran to come in. Mr. Chandran, now, the fact of the matter is that there are Christian schools across the country, not just in Tamil Nadu. Then to go ahead and say that nearly 57% are graduates in the state because Catholic Christian schools and colleges exist in dominance in the state, do you think that's right? Do you think it's not going to invite criticism?
Yeah, good evening. Don't get shocked. There is an absolute fact what Mr. Appavu has told. From all over Tamil Nadu, and he cited Kerala also. If the Catholics and the missionaries were not there, then the kind of education which Tamil Nadu and Kerala got will not be there, and of course we would have been like Bihar or Uttar Pradesh where the literacy rate is.
So you're saying the kind of education that is there will not be there. What kind of education will be there? Definitely. That of Bihar? Are you endorsing that comment?
Yeah, of course. Because the literacy rate of Bihar and UP are very less compared to Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So if this missionary and the Catholic schools and colleges were not there, if you have ever traveled to Tamil Nadu or Kerala, you will understand.
He's covered up the issue. That's not right.
Mr. Mohan, you are not from Tamil Nadu or Kerala. You can please keep quiet. We know about your state. Keep quiet.
All right. BJP of the opinion that this is a cover-up. You're just trying to diverge the issue. You're trying to just dodge the questions that are being thrown at you. Let me quickly take in a word from Mr. Vikraman. I'll come back to you, sir. I'll come back to you. Mr. Vikraman, a quick response. What do you think is the issue here? Who's trying to communalize? Because in as many words, Bihar's name has been taken by the respected Tamil Nadu Assembly Speaker, who's very clearly said if it were not for the priests in the state, then the state would have become like Bihar.
So he was referring to the literacy rate of Bihar, and he was referring to the human development index of other North Indian states. That's all. He was not deliberately insulting any part of the country. He was only referring to the facts. What is wrong in stating the facts? And also, Christian missionaries were the reason for educating Tamil Nadu, early Tamil Nadu people, the students in Kerala. That is why the literacy rate is higher. This is also the fact. For example, Ms. J. Jayalalitha, who had been the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, she studied in a Christian missionary convent. And she had been proudly stating that in every
so
Christmas,
you're saying it's all justified because it's just the literacy rate aspect that the Tamil Nadu Assembly Speaker was talking about while he was addressing this college event. The BJP certainly doesn't agree at this point in time. They're saying that this is DMK's anti-Hindu mindset that is perhaps now coming out in the form of these kind of remarks being made, and wherein a state like Bihar has been taken on. I'd like to thank all of you here on this broadcast. I'm running out of time. Afraid can't take more comments from you. But Mohan, Krishna, Mr. Rajagopalan, Gokul Chandran and Vikraman R, thank you for speaking to us this evening.